Inside its headquarters at New Delhi, these young officers of the Indian Army spent tense, thoughtful moments. Today, the best among them will be handpicked for an assignment that's both difficult and delicate. As peacekeepers for the United Nations, this team will add another glorious chapter to India's commitment towards UN peacekeeping initiatives around the world. For the United Nations, it's been a road well traversed, a 60-year journey negotiating the harsh terrain of global politics, creating milestones out of its success stories. In these years, the United Nations has successfully overcome challenges and achieved its objectives with the participation and contribution of member states, with international peacekeeping being one of the most daunting tasks. Towards this endeavor of the United Nations, its member states, including India, have contributed soldiers for various peacekeeping missions around the globe. With their commitment towards duty, discipline and professionalism, Indian peacekeepers have been inspired to make sacrifices of the highest order, upholding the glorious traditions of the Indian Army. After more than 5 decades of a committed relationship with the United Nations, peacekeeping has become an important aspect of India's national and military heritage. It is a reflection of the country's fundamental beliefs and is considered integral to its foreign policy.
Aspiring for peace and harmony, the principles of Panchsheel, we'd like people to come out of strife and disharmony onto the road of peace and progress. And if we can help them in that, I think India should and would, because we have the capacity and we have the will and we have the civilizational legacy.
As one of the top contributors to UN's peacekeeping efforts, 70,000 Indian military and police personnel have served under the blue flag in 41 out of 57 peacekeeping operations across the globe. Such large troop deployment truly reflects India's capability and commitment in terms of professional soldiery. March 1951. It was the Korean conflict that marked the fateful beginning between India and UN peacekeeping. India's 60 para-field ambulance was sent to join the multinational force comprising 16 countries. Incidentally, 60 para-field ambulance was the only medical unit qualified to take part in an airborne mission alongside 4,000 American paratroopers. In the course of the conflict, the team treated hundreds of casualties and performed several life-saving surgeries. Subsequently, to resolve the issue of captured prisoners of war, the United Nations set up a Neutral Nations Repatriation Commission, NNRC, in Korea, with members from Poland, Czechoslovakia, Sweden and Switzerland. Lieutenant General K.S. Thimayya of the Indian Army was appointed chairman of the NNRC. A custodian force was also provided by India, under the able leadership of Major General S.P.P. Thorat. The mandate of a peacekeeping soldier is much more complicated. It cannot be equated with military engagement. Use of weapons is only a last resort. Only the best officers and soldiers with attributes like calm, reserve and determination will do for peacekeeping missions. So, the selection process is a tough one.
Based on the track record and the career profile of officers, how well they have done, in operational areas and their normal courses of instructions and decorations, they are selected and a merit is made, and thereafter the very best of them are called to the army headquarters for an interview, and it is only after the interview that a selection is made, approved by the Chief of Army Staff, and then the name goes to the MOD.
The selected candidates receive meticulous and rigorous training that prepares them for extremely tough, complicated and tenacious UN missions ahead. Neutrality, fairness and respect for human rights must be clearly understood and adhered to. Would-be peacekeepers are also reminded that they are not going out to wage war, but to prevent infighting between belligerent groups. They are made to understand that the objective is to attain peace, not by force or armed conflict, but through calm and diplomatic reassurance. India now has the envious responsibility of imparting the secret of peacekeeping to other member countries as well. It's in this spirit that the Centre for United Nations Peacekeeping, CUNPK, has been set up as a joint endeavour between the Ministries of External Affairs and Defence, Govt of India. Since its inception, CUNPK has conducted a series of international, national and bilateral seminars like the Asia-Pacific Regional Training Workshop, Indo-UK Defence Cooperation Seminar, International Seminar on UN Peacekeeping, and 2 training capsules for contingent junior leaders, military observers and staff officers of troop-contributing countries. Military personnel of 20 UN member countries have already attended these capsules. The objective of the Centre for United Nations Peacekeeping is to train military personnel to become good and effective peacekeepers.
The United Services Institute, and to witness firsthand your remarkable work on behalf of the United Nations peacekeeping around the world. As a first-rank training center, you are providing tomorrow's peacekeepers with the tools, the experience, and the knowledge necessary to succeed in carrying out their mission. In your Director General Nambia, you have a man who is known and admired throughout the United Nations for his skills and leadership, and it gives me great pleasure and comfort to know that he is setting the standard for future graduates of this institute.
Firstly, we have trained about 147 officers from 47 countries in the last 4.5 years. But more importantly, what has happened is that with the support of the Ministry of External Affairs, a number of developing countries, officers from those countries have been taken in for these courses at our expense, Govt of India expense. You know, the Ministry of External Affairs has covered the cost of their air travel from their home country to this place and back. The cost of training, the cost of stay, the cost of meals has all been covered by the Ministry of External Affairs, which I think is a great contribution to the to UN peacekeeping as a whole.
Peacekeeping had not originally been envisaged as a role of the United Nations, and so was not included in the UN Charter. Rather, it emerged as a pragmatic response to emerging global situations. Traditionally, peacekeeping operations have involved the deployment of military personnel from a number of countries under UN command. Over time, UN peacekeeping evolved to meet the unique demands of sharply different conflicts in an ever-changing political landscape. This has meant that a growing number of peacekeeping missions now fit into a new category, characterized by complex operations composed of military, civilian police and other personnel. India has always responded ably and rapidly to the changing demands of UN peacekeeping. One such need arose in Kosovo, when, in 1998, clashes between Albanian rebels, the Serbian police and military forces got out of hand. After the March 1998 meeting in Paris condemning such action by Serbian authorities, the then Serbian President, Slobodan Milosevic, refused to accept any diplomatic settlement, and so a NATO military intervention became inevitable. Subsequently, the United Nations formed an interim administration in Kosovo. India was there to vigorously contribute and further the purpose of the United Nations. Along with 6 other countries, India set up the Special Police Unit to deal with any untoward incident and curb further unrest. The Indian Special Police Unit comprised select personnel drawn from the elite Rapid Action Force, popularly known as RAF in India. RAF is a part of the Central Reserve Police Force, a paramilitary force of the Indian Union. These men of the Rapid Action Force were screened, selected, and specially trained in rescue and relief, first aid, human rights, firefighting, and use of tear gas prior to their departure for Kosovo. As is evident from its name, the Rapid Action Force was set up in India to deal with riots or riot-like situations quickly, with dexterity and expertise. When deployed as the Indian Special Police Unit in Kosovo to control the highly inflammable situation there, the RAF performed in an absolutely objective and non-partisan manner, successfully keeping the situation under control and maintaining the fragile peace. It takes more than military might or policing capabilities to earn the goodwill and trust of people, as members of India's Special Police Unit amply demonstrated in Kosovo. Within a short period of its deployment, the Indian contingent endeared itself to the people of Kosovo. Their skills and experience proved to be an asset to the United Nations mission in Kosovo, and also towards the peace process in the region.
India's contribution is very important in the mission on a number of fronts. We have police, including SPU, which is our sort of quick reaction police in case there's civil disorder, in other words, sort of the gendarme type of police. This is a very, very important capacity for UNMIC because we have actual police responsibilities, public order responsibilities in Kosovo in terms of the UN mandate that we have under our resolution. And these SPUs, of which India has been a contributor for a long time now, are really our response force and our capacity to control unrest should a normal police incident develop into something a little worse. There's also a NATO military force here, but they're really more a military force, and they're not interested, or they don't have the job to, or the capability, the training to engage so much in civil disorder. So the SPUs are key. India's key in that contribution, and we're really very grateful for it. It's typical of the contributions India's making a lot of peacekeeping missions.
Since its inception, India's civilian police personnel and civil service officers have been contributing a great deal to the peace mission in Kosovo. Working in different divisions of the United Nations mission in Kosovo, these personnel have carved a unique niche for themselves.
The people who are the subject of this operation are not violated.
Civilian police officers with the best track record are called from across India and through a common test selected for UN peacekeeping missions. The contingent of Indian civilian police officers is a part of the 46-nation International Police Force in Kosovo, a face among many faces that unite nations under the UN flag at times of crisis.
What exactly does it mean when you say human trafficking?
Indian civilian police officers play their multifarious roles with equal dexterity. Upon arrival, they familiarize new contingents of international police officers with the situation in Kosovo.
Hello, how are you? Good? Fine.
They, along with the Kosovo police, keep a tight vigil at the border. They are constantly on patrol and are part of community policing. While performing their duties, the Indian civilian police officers seize every opportunity available to strike a chord with the locals as they perform the role of peace builders.
Yes, yes.
The quality within Indian police is, first of all, they are professional police officers. They are democratic police officers. They are well trained. They're very polite. And they work, which means that they meet a time, work, and they really know what this is about. They train and they monitor the local police and have a great part in the success which the local KPS is. That's due to a lot of police officers, of course, from 46 nations. But last but not least, the Indian police officer and the way they are dealing with policing.
Towering and all-powerful, this is the United Nations headquarters in New York. This building houses eminent custodians of a free and safe world. Among them is Major General Randhir Kumar Mehta of the Indian Army. Acknowledging his experience and capability, Major General Mehta was appointed as military advisor to the United Nations, becoming the first Indian to get this coveted post since 1969.
Well, I share the pride of my countrymen and the entire Indian Army when I was appointed as the military advisor in the Department of Peacekeeping Operations. It's a post which carries with it a very heavy responsibility in that you are dealing with a large number of troop contributors, approximately 103 at any one time. You are dealing with 18 ongoing missions involving over 60,000 peacekeepers and the various associated challenges with it. All this makes it a very exciting and challenging job.
Since the very beginning, India has made its dynamic presence felt at the United Nations, with highly involved participation in various debates on peacekeeping. From time to time, India has effectively articulated its point and even made constructive suggestions. In the same spirit, India played a key role in UN deliberations with regard to recommendations made in the Brahimi Panel Report on peacekeeping in August 2000. Indian troops have taken part in some of the most difficult operations in hostile territory, yet managed to win universal acclaim with their professional excellence and significant contributions towards world peace and stability. Indian peacekeepers have also participated and successfully performed their duties in some of the most daunting operations in countries like Cambodia, Lebanon, Somalia, Sierra Leone, and Congo.
In all these conflicts, Indian soldiers have played and have distinguished themselves through discipline, training, and professionalism. And it is my hope that you can help set a new standard for UN peacekeeping. You have much to teach the peacekeepers of other countries who may share your enthusiasm and determination, but lack your experience and training.
No matter where they go, Indian peacekeepers have been complimented for their tenacity of purpose and their ability to curb the style of adversaries. However, it was in Congo that, for the first time, circumstances embroiled a UN peacekeeping mission in a chaotic internal situation of extreme complexity. It was also the first time that the UN intervened to prevent intra-country strife instead of inter-country warfare, and thus the concept of UN peace enforcement took shape. In the year 1961, when civil war broke out in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Security Council adopted Resolution 161 in February that year, by which it authorized ONUC to use force as a last resort to prevent the civil war. On UN's call, India rushed the largest contingent of peacekeepers to Congo in 1961. The Indian Army's action in Congo thus became the first and longest-serving peace enforcement operation in the history of the United Nations. Congo was a difficult and dangerous mission, during which India lost many of its gallant peacekeepers, but managed to save the country from disintegrating. In 1997, when fighting erupted once again between warring factions in Congo, the UN Security Council, by its resolutions 1279 and 1291, authorized the creation of the United Nations Mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo, or MONUC, and the deployment of military personnel in the country. Indian peacekeepers were back again in the country after a gap of some 35 years, with a sense of déjà vu. With the second largest troop presence in the country, Indian soldiers and military observers formed a large part of MONUC. Not only that, since 1999, India has been regularly sending army officers to the Democratic Republic of Congo on individual missions as military observers. In spite of the hostile situation looming large all the time, Indian peacekeepers have done an excellent job and lived up to their reputation as a professional and effective force. In 2003, India also sent an aviation contingent to the Democratic Republic of Congo. Once again, the pressure was on. The people of Congo expected the aviators to match up to the crucial role played by Indian troops in peacekeeping operations of the 60s. Today, the Indian aviation contingent is the biggest support and lifeline of UN peacekeeping and peace enforcement operations in the Congo. Indian attack helicopters participated in the biggest battle fought by the world body under the UN flag since 1994. Providing close air support to ground troops, they have often saved the lives of several fellow UN peacekeepers on the ground.
We are very grateful to the Indian government for its consistent support to UN operations with very professional and very well-equipped troops. We particularly appreciate the fact that in the Congo, for example, India is providing a full brigade in Eastern Congo in the Kivu, and it is also providing attack helicopters, which is a very important force multiplier in the difficult environments that we have to operate in today.
He's one of the casualties because of the gunshot fire, with crossfire between armed civilian Congolese and unarmed people. So they fired at him and he came in the crossfire.
Peacekeeping is never easy. The risks are very real and the costs often high. It's a painful admission that in terms of numbers, India leads the list of countries whose soldiers have made the supreme sacrifice while on a UN mission. These coffins are among the dreadful mementos that a strife-torn world occasionally sends back to India. Despite these unfortunate incidents, India, as a responsible member of the international community, remains firmly committed to UN peacekeeping efforts in order to further establish peace and security around the world.
We want to thank the Government of India for its support and of course for the sacrifices it has made. Over 100 Indian soldiers and police officers have paid with their lives while participating in our operations, and we are very grateful for that sacrifice made by Indian personnel in the pursuit of the cause of peace.
Must be, sir. I'll just get it checked up, sir.
Over the years, India has emerged as one of the most dependable and sought-after troop-contributing countries. It is among very few countries in the world with an infantry brigade group standing by for peacekeeping operations. At any given moment, India has one infantry battalion ready to be deployed within 30 days and a brigade group within a period of 8 weeks from issue of orders. Indian peacekeepers are always at the forefront when it comes to taking up difficult challenges. It is because of such genuine and selfless contribution to world peace that India's relations with the UN have been strong and are becoming even stronger with each passing day.
We have been responsible members of the United Nations. Will continue to be so. Our belief in the United Nations is exemplified through our participation in various aspects of the United Nations governance. This is one of those aspects, and we have done all that we could. In fact, we have done more than we were required to do, and it has enhanced our prestige in the United Nations. And I suppose, like I said earlier, it has showcased our ability not only to undertake these kind of missions, but to undertake them well in a disciplined manner.
In helping the United Nations face these unprecedented challenges, India has provided a shining example to all troop contributing nations and indeed to the entire international community. So let me take this opportunity to commend the Indian military for their admirable service in the cause of peace.
Back at the Indian Army headquarters, another set of officers wait patiently for their turn to be interviewed. It's an ongoing process, as even more missions may be on the horizon. In its undying wish to have a peaceful and trouble-free world, India is proud to remain sensitive and responsive to the needs of world peace. It is always prepared to contribute selflessly and generously to UN peace initiatives in order to make the world a better and safer place in times to come.